All right, this is a piece of machinery that I use quite often as well. It's called a 6 and an 1/8 inch joiner planer. So what I use this for is to plane any surfaces that I want really smooth. I have it set up to where it just cuts a small amount of material at a time. Let's say I'm going to make a V body. Well, I'll buy my mahogany and it may come 8, 9, 10 inches wide. And what I do is I'll take two pieces and I glue them side by side. Now the jointed area, the gluing area needs to be extremely smooth and straight. So that's what I use this particular piece of machinery for. And it does a great job. I keep that fence, this fence right here at a 90 degree. As you can see, there's a couple of push sticks. These are very important to have. They've got like a little stop here that holds the wood as I push it through, and it keeps my hand away from the blade. Same with this one. I can push a piece through. It's got a little notch here, as you can see, and that's really important. The blade is here. On this particular one, I try to keep, this guard is on all the time because this blade rotates and can slice and slice and dice you pretty quick. It's very, very sharp, and as you can see, when I run my wood through it, it'll open up and just expose the area that's for cutting only. Very good safety feature to have. You can see the lamp that I have there. I'll put the light on it as well. It's very easy to use. It's a smaller version. I think that the table itself is about 6 inches to 8 inches wide. The fence might be about 4 inches tall. It may have a well, it says here it's got a 2 horsepower motor on it, so it's pretty strong, and I have no problem of it bogging down or cutting in a bad way. It does the job. There's times when I'll glue maple together to make a neck, let's say a neck through, and I need to square off two sides. Well, this piece of machinery will help you do that. Once again, keep your hands away from that blade. You might want to do a sort of a dry run with the machine off to see where your hands are going to be as you're pushing your material through. Use your push guides as much as possible. You can custom make those any which way you want. And like I say, just keep your fingers away from that rotating blade. And if you're not paying attention, you can real easily cut yourself, slice off the tips of your fingers, if not more. And that's not, you're not going to be a happy camper if that happens. So once again, this is called a joiner planer. The table itself and its length looks like it's about 4 feet, but they, like I say, these come in so many different sizes and horsepower motors that you may need. I've seen some that are twice this width. Like I say, this looks about maybe 4.5 to 5 inches. So I've seen some tabletops that are 10 inches wide. They might be 6 feet long, 8 feet long. There's just a variety of different sizes that you can get. It's very important, like I say, to keep that fence in the back at a 90 because you always want your angles true. This particular model, it's a smaller version, and it works great for me in prepping my wood prior to cutting out the body shapes, neck shapes, and once in a while you have to have the blades removed and resharpened. You know, you always want sharp blades. And sometimes I'll put a little wax on the table just to allow the wood to slide through easier. When a piece of machinery sits for a while, if you don't use it, it may build up a little surface rust. So just take some real fine steel wool and kind of go over the fence and the table. Just apply a little bit of wax. And when I say little, I mean a little, because it can go a long way, and it'll make that. You want to feel a little bit of resistance when you're running that wood through there. And you'll feel it with the cutter blades, and you'll feel some drag on both the fence and the base, the top of the table there. And that's okay. I mean, and this is one item that you never want to look away from when you're looking. You always want to see where your hands are related to that blade turning, especially when that guard is moved open. So very good machine to have, and I recommend it highly. It's almost a must. You certainly don't want to hand plane something. It can take forever. With these machines like this, it's done in a matter of seconds. So let's move on to the next piece of machinery. Now we're getting into the big guns. These are the cannons of my shop. These guys are monsters. All the other machinery that I've shown you prior to this one, they all run on wall VAC, which is 120 or thereabouts. This particular one is 220, single phase, 3 horse. And same with the other two items that I'll show you after this one. They're also 220. My large air compressor is 220. So in your shop, I mean, it's valuable to have. Of course, you're going to have your 120 wall sockets, and then a 220 wall socket will work great. And you want to have the correct breaker amperage used for that particular 220 socket. I typically use about a 50 amp breaker. So whatever your local electrician recommends that you use for safety purposes, that's the breaker that you would want to have when you're using this type of equipment. But anyway, this is my overarm pin router. I've had it for a while, and I can't tell you how great this machine is for planing surfaces of the faces of my headstock. Sometimes I may get some uneven wood and I have to straighten it out, and this is a machine that'll do it. The table goes up and down as well as the spindle itself. As you can see, it's pulled down in its down position now. This is down now, and so I have a pedal on the floor that I press, and one press it goes up, the next press it goes down. And they kind of call them they're sort of a plunge router as well. And you can put several different types of bits in there. You got spiral 1/2 inch cutter blades that will cut. I like the spiral bits that cut downwards. That means it'll hold the material down towards the table. If you use the reverse type of cutter where it pulls the material that you're cutting up, it can also pull up your body or whatever you're routing. You can pull it up, and then that router bit will just go right through the body. So you always want to maintain good pressure, good safe pressure onto the body that you're routing, or neck that you're routing, or whatever it is you're routing. You always want to have your guides put on. I don't have the proper safety shield in the front here. It was made out of plexiglass, and it broke immediately. And so by all means, when you have these types of machines, keep on and put on the different types of shields that they have for safety. And I've never really had any problems in operating this particular machine. Once again, when I run a piece of wood through it, I run my hands on the right and left hand side of that blade. I never put my hands in front of it, because if I slip for whatever reason, I'll go right into that blade and I will be cut up really bad. So always on the right and the left hand side. I have a little air nozzle right here that I turn on, and that blows the debris. After I route, it blows the debris away, and it works really good. I've got it scattered all over this floor. I mean, it's a shop, and the shop is going to look messy. I mean, you should probably clean it up after every use. But I've got, being a one-man shop, I'm pulled in so many different directions. But for safety reasons, yeah, keep